Just filming some of the wonderful volunteers we've got down here this morning.
Come tonight. Yeah. Okay, thanks, Grant.
The man in charge is so busy this morning, but he can spend a few moments to give us a bit of his history. Yeah, so you were actually stationed at Doniford at one time?
Yeah, I came here as a 18-year-old. I finished my tour in Borneo, and then the battalion came back here, and then we spent a year back here before we then got deployed as the Spearhead Battalion out to Aden.
Oh, you've been around the world a bit.
Yeah. And then from Aden, we came back again, and then we went off to Malta.
Right.
Supposedly for a holiday, but then we went to North Africa.
Oh, yes. Right. So you've seen active service as well then?
Yeah. Both Borneo and Aden. Then we had a little gap.
Yeah.
And then obviously Northern Ireland kicked off.
Oh, you were involved with that as well?
In the 70s. Wow. And then went all the way through into the 80s, into the 90s.
Right.
So more or less all the way through the Northern Ireland campaign.
And you worked your way up from a private up to major.
Yeah.
That's pretty amazing.
Yeah, it is very satisfying.
Yeah, oh yes, something to look back on with pride, isn't it?
It's it just it was a wonderful experience, but that's what it was. It was it is probably a bit of a cliche, but you serve Queen and country.
Yes.
But there comes a time when you've got to say, right,
yeah,
let the young ones take over.
I know.
And that time came.
Yeah.
When I was 49.
Right.
And then I thought I'll retire at 49. But then 3 months into retirement, I thought I can't do this.
Right.
So I then started to look around for a job.
Yeah.
And couldn't get a job in management, so I looked around for alternatives. And in a newspaper advert, they were looking for ex-military people to go and work in a law firm, dealing with court martials.
Oh, right. So you've got all the knowledge there in the background.
Yeah. So you had the background knowledge.
Yeah.
And I went and joined them. They trained me, and I stayed there for.
That wasn't locally there?
No, it was in Plymouth. I originally settled in Blue Anchor.
Right.
But there was no work.
No.
In this area.
No.
For what I wanted to do. So I started to look further afield, and then I got a job with a law firm in Plymouth.
Right.
And
what was the name of that company? Because I come from Plymouth.
Yeah, it was Foot and Bowden.
Oh, I've heard of them. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, well done.
And I worked with them initially.
Yeah.
And then I moved on. I was headhunted by another firm and went to Allen Harris Solicitors. I don't know whether you know them.
I don't know them. No.
They're on North Hill.
Right.
And then I stayed with them, and I became the office manager with them, as well as doing the legal stuff. But then when I got to 65, I was down here in my caravan.
The best people come here on caravans first.
I was coming up to my 65th birthday, and I thought, I've had enough.
Yeah.
So I decided that I would retire, but I'm now working harder than I was when I was working.
Yeah, but enjoying it just as much, I'm sure. Yeah.
With all this, I do as a volunteer.
Yeah. And this has been building up for well over 3 years, isn't it?
Yeah, this has.
Yeah.
But then I've become the chairman of Willerton Parish Council.
Oh. Right.
And I'm also vice chairman of the Royal British Legion county office.
The perfect man for the job.
Yeah. And then I've got one of the two. Chairman of the Watchet Cricket Club. And just little bits and pieces that people ask me to do, and they're easy enough to fit in to the diary, although some of them get a bit heavy at times. But by and large, over the year, it works out.
Well done.
If I look at my diary, I have the odd blip when I should be in 6 places at once.
I know.
They're few and far between.
Yeah, well, thank you. That's
just nice.
it's good to have a bit of background as to the man in charge.
Yeah.
But we've got so many volunteers, haven't we, doing all this job?
This is the combination, and then, as you say, there's so many volunteers.
Yeah.
People have been here since, before 5 o'clock this morning, putting up the barriers, checking that all the security is in place, putting all the chairs. I mean, this doesn't happen on its own.
No. I thought I'd come down at 7 and catch the work beginning, but it's virtually done.
It's all done,
And
people have just turned up and said hello.
Yeah.
Do you want me to help? And they've just turned up and out, and it's wonderful, you know.
Great.
And that's typical of the whole project from day one.
Lovely.
You know, we started with a blank sheet of paper.
Yeah.
The first thing that went to the top of the piece of paper, what can the children do?
Right.
And the children have been involved.
Yes.
We've done the drawing for this. And it all emanated from that. And they've been involved throughout. They've done fundraising. And the teachers have been supported, the parents have been supported. Every penny that we've raised has come from public donations. We've had no grants from anybody. We've had.
And there was a considerable sum of money in the end, wasn't it?
It was, well, we've collected nearly 30,000.
For a little town like Watchet.
And the memorial
Yeah.
cost us just under 18,000, and it's paid for.
Yeah.
You know,
Nobody owes any money now.
No, nobody owes any money.
Great.
We don't owe anybody anything. All the bills are paid, and we've still got money in the bank.
Yeah, lovely.
Because the long term is that we go on from here. We're
Right.
going to stay together as a group,
Yes.
and we're going to do a book of remembrance to go into St Decumans.
Good.
With that, again, we'll have the children involved, because the idea is that once a month, members of the Royal British, a member of the Royal British Legion and one of the children goes up to the church and turns the next page
Oh, yeah.
in remembrance.
Yes.
And each-
Nice symbolic act.
Yeah, and there will be 2 or 3 names. It won't be overcrowded. The name will be there with a short history of that individual, and then the next month we'll do the same, and then the next
Lovely.
month.
Yeah.
And as you know, there's 58 names on there, so it will.
That'll keep you busy for some time.
And again, is keeping the children involved.
Yes.
And keeping them interested.
Yes.
Because, as we've already said, at the point of warning people, it's their legacy. They are going to inherit this.
Yes.
And if they're involved in it, one would hope that they're then going to respect it.
Yes.
And I'm sure they will. I mean, because they've already put a lot of work
Yes,
into it.
I've been down to the church and I've seen the drawings and the poems and
they're beautiful. I mean, we had to pick one from all of those.
Yes.
I mean, you could have picked 12, 13, that all would have been
quite suitable,
good enough to go, but we had to eventually whittle it down, and we came to this one because it was the Celtic cross, and as you know, it's synonymous with this area. The rest of it is things that me as a military person came up with, and so on. And then if you have a look at the image when it's unveiled, and then relate it to
what goes on in Watchet. Yeah. Oh, I see.
There
Yes.
with the trench and the door that goes into the opening of the defensive position on the notice board there.
Yes, I'll have a look at that in a minute.
Take away the name plaque when you see it. Take away the name plaque and envisage that being the entrance going into their bolt hole. Where they slept at night or where they had their meals and everything like that. Take away that, and then you've got that image with the sandbags and everything like that. It's very poignant, and we picked the sandbags because, again, being ex-infantry, I've done my share of filling sandbags.
Right. Yeah.
But seriously, they had to build their defensive positions. When they were bombarded, they were smashed to pieces, but they had to build them again. and that's the idea behind
Right,
the
continually,
sandbag,
yeah.
because it was a continual defence of their position, and then around the plaque with all the names on is you've got the image of barbed wire, which has been cut into by the stonemasons.
Right.
And the idea behind that is that the barbed wire was put there initially to defend their position.
Yes.
But then when they went over the top, they then had to go through the barbed wire.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, quite a lot of guys actually died on the wire. They did not get into contact with the enemy. And so that is that image.
That's symbolic
and I think
as well.
it's symbolic
Yeah.
that it is there, and again, we've told the children about all of this, and they can tell the story themselves at a later stage. And then what you will see on the bottom step is that we've had all the badges of the armed services, plus the Merchant Navy, plus the Royal British Legion, and all of these people obviously are involved with the armed forces, and so is relevant. The verses that go on the side, on the second step, they come from the children. So when you go onto the area, the first thing you see on this side is the first verse, tell them of us.
Yeah.
And then along the front is the Legion, we will remember them.
Yeah.
And then round that side, you will see the other verse that the children wrote, and tell they made us free. It is very, very poignant, and we thought it was very, very important to put that on there.
Yes.
Because again, the children have asked for that to be done, and we've done it. And the same with the Dove of Peace, which you will see when it's unveiled. The children asked for the Dove of Peace to be put on there.
Lovely.
And so it's the children's wishes.
So the whole community has been involved with this all the way
absolutely.
through.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's good that they have, and I mean they are 100% on board. And we could not have asked them to be more involved and to be more upfront with it all, and wanting to be involved. And they've helped us on stalls. They've come and they've spent their money.
Even the choirs there with that big performance in the church.
From down Govier's Lane. We were in here, one of our first collections, and we had a bucket, and all we had was that sign there, saying the project sign. And he came up with his younger brother. There's one up here and one down there, and he said, "What are you doing, mister?" And I explained it all to him, and he went in. I tell you, not a lie. He went into his pocket. He had 20p. That he was going to go to shops and spend, and he put it in the bucket.
That must have been very heartening for you at that stage.
Absolutely, he put it. And so to say that the children don't understand and the children are not committed, it is
not true.
It is not true. They're totally committed to it, and they will be. And you know, I just hope and pray that they are supported by their parents, and they come on Remembrance Day, and the crowds will swell. I'm sure they will, because they've now got
their memorial.
Their memorial.
Yeah, great, thank you very much.
That's all right.
Lovely. Yeah.